Now on Channel 3 News.
You're looking at a live view of Paris, where a massive international manhunt is underway for one of the suspects connected to last week's brutal terror attack. Plus, ISIS now threatening the U.S. A look at the newest video put out by that terror group. And concerns about Syrian refugees arriving in the U.S. The growing list of states saying they won't support them.
You're watching Northwest Florida's news station. This is WEAR, Channel 3 News, first at 4 in high definition.
This evening, concern over the refugee crisis is mounting. 3 days after the attacks in Paris, Americans worry about Syrian refugees resettling in the U.S. Just hours ago, Florida Governor Rick Scott joined more than a dozen other governors across the country saying they will not accept them. But the White House insisting the refugees can still arrive on our shores. Channel 3's Christina Leavenworth begins our team coverage tonight.
Florida Governor Rick Scott announced he will not support Syrian refugees coming into the state, and he's asking Congress to block them from coming to Florida. Florida Representative Mike Hill also on board, citing national security as his reason.
Not all Syrians are terrorists, but because we can't tell the difference right now, until we develop a process where we can better determine who is a terrorist and who isn't, then I think we need to just put the program on hold, stop for now.
Catholic Charities of Northwest Florida says many Syrians need help. They provide services to refugees from all over the world.
They have to go through very extensive background screenings abroad before they come here. It's people that are precisely fleeing those extremists. The situation is horrible. They leave with a backpack and their children. They want to be alive.
Dr. Michelle Williams at the University of West Florida specializes in radicalism and immigration.
It's increasingly at this point in time a black and white issue for many. I think that the conversations have been going on long enough and the lines are being drawn and people are deciding which side of the line they stand on.
She says our Constitution allows state governors to say no to refugees. So the next question is, where will all these refugees go?
That makes a dilemma for the federal government. They have to figure out, okay, well, where can we go to get these people accommodated and what can we do? So that will be an interesting sort of power struggle.
At a summit in Turkey, President Obama said it was un-American and shameful and that we must not close our hearts to these victims. His administration has stressed there is a heavy vetting process when accepting refugees. Christina Leavenworth, Channel 3 News.
Channel 3 wants to know what you think. Our question of the day is, should the U.S. continue to accept refugees from Syria? We got a lot of responses on our Facebook page. Kelly A. wrote, in part, we don't have enough, allegedly, to care for our own citizens, and we certainly do not need fake refugees coming into our country so they can attack us. Now, Jana P. said, why not? Statistically, they are much less of a danger to the American people than our own citizens are. We also hit the streets today to see what some of you had to say.
I don't think that they should be let into our country. I think it's a risk that we are taking under the circumstances. It just seems too scary right now to do that.
They need to be fingerprinted. They need to be checked like I was and go through a whole lot of tests and then be checked out and let into the country. I mean, you can't just walk in and expect people to just say, well, that's great. You know, I feel sorry for them, but it doesn't give them the right just to come here.
Join the conversation about the refugee crisis on our Facebook page and stay updated at WEARTV.com. Meanwhile, the continuing threat of ISIS has Americans on high alert. Today, new video allegedly released by ISIS has surfaced, revealing a special hatred for France. It also says similar attacks will happen in Washington, D.C. U.S. Homeland Security says there is no specific credible threat to the United States. Today, the French president is vowing to eradicate terrorism. He proposes extending France's state of emergency for 3 months, making it easier to detain and deport suspected terrorists. Scott Thuman has more now from Paris.
For at least one moment, all of Paris seemed to stop. Silence, remembrance, and then questions. How can they keep from being struck again on that vast differences?
Do we need to be more aggressive? The fact they attacked Syria, I don't think it was a good idea. And I'm afraid. I'm really, really, really scared.
While French and U.S. fighter jets immediately unleashed a torrent of attacks in Syria, the real power was concentrated in a room in Turkey, world leaders under pressure for policies that the Islamic State are defeating.
Is it time for your strategy to change?
There will be an intensification of the strategy that we put forward. The strategy that we are putting forward is the strategy that ultimately is going to work. It's going to take time.
And new criticism in light of word at least one attacker may have been among a group of refugees. Regardless of what the investigation here in Paris unveils, the debate over how and even whether to accept refugees will only intensify.
They should have been vetted when they were coming in, you see, and they weren't vetted. He won't be the first and he probably won't be the last.
In the U.S., the president's plan to accept possibly 10,000 more Syrians in the next year, a highly polarizing decision.
What I see are sort of these knee-jerk reactions to immigration.
I think we need maybe more control. Yeah, we don't feel safe.
In Paris, France, Scott Thuman.
You can join the conversation on the war on terror. Tonight, our sister station WJLA is hosting a town hall to discuss terror threats around the world and these attacks on soft targets. We'll stream that town hall live for you on our website, weartv.com, starting at 6. Chief Meteorologist Alan Strum joining us now to talk about this kind of gray Monday, Alan. Gray and Monday. What's next?
Yeah, gray and Monday. Check it out. I mean, those skies are all gray. It is overcast, Laura. This is the view from our downtown City Hall cam. And clouds are going to hang in place for a couple days. We've got a pretty good chance for some wet weather, and we're looking out for the potential that some strong to severe storms could move across areas of the deep south and northern Gulf Coast. Right now, it's just some rainy weather here back toward Texas and Arkansas, as well as into Louisiana. We're going to be watching as an area of low pressure from the Rockies moves across the nation and drags with it a cold front. So before then, it will be warm. Right now, we've got warm weather with temps in the mid to low 70s. And overnight, these temperatures are going to be warm, basically in the mid to upper 60s here. Mid 60s inland, upper 60s coastal. So a rather warm night, cloudy skies. Rain should hold off now. But heading into tomorrow, there is a slight chance for a shower to pop up or pass through the area. We're kind of low on our rain chances tomorrow, but the rain chance goes up tomorrow night as well as into Wednesday, and we're going to run the Futurecast in just a bit.
A Pensacola man was found dead inside a car in Baldwin County. The sheriff's office says the car and body were found on Farley Lane in Lillian. The body is identified as 22-year-old Devin Kennedy of Pensacola. Kennedy's body was taken to the Alabama Department of Forensic Science for an autopsy. The case continues to be investigated as a homicide. Fort Walton Beach police arrested 2 Alabama men in connection with a murder. Police say James Lee and Jamal Riley, both of Monroeville, are facing charges in the murder of Jimmy Stanton. You remember Stanton was shot to death on Burnett Avenue in Fort Walton Beach back in September. Police say Lee and Riley went to Fort Walton to buy marijuana. During the meeting, Stanton was shot and killed in an argument. Police say a third person could be involved, and the investigation continues. Happening tonight, next year's school calendar for Escambia County is set to be released. School board members will decide tonight between 2 proposed options for the 2016-2017 school year. Both calendars start on August 10th. Each allows a full week off for Thanksgiving. Parents were given the chance to weigh in on the calendars with an online survey. Tonight's meeting starts at 5:30. Also tonight, the 2015 School Choice Expo. This one's at Booker T. Washington High School at 6 o'clock. You'll find the expo in the auditorium on the north side of the school with lots of info on special academies that put students on a career track. Each academy will have staff members on hand to answer questions.
Well, the students are able to start on the middle school level, and they're able to pick a career that they might be interested in. We have academies that are tailor-made for them, and it's a way to get the students focused or a little bit more on track before they get into high school and definitely before they get into college.
Don't dawdle on this one. That event should only last about an hour. Construction for a new studio is officially underway at the Pensacola State College Visual Arts Center. This morning, the college held a groundbreaking ceremony for the Charles W. Lamar Studio. The $2 million project will give more classrooms as well as a gallery space, and it's expected to be finished sometime next year. Today, the Santa Rosa Island Authority begins a project to re-nourish the Pensacola Beach shoreline. This one will replace sand that's been lost from past hurricanes and from natural erosion over the last decade. The renourishment project covers 8.1 miles of shoreline. You can expect it to last about 3 months. Coming up, riding 100 miles to help save a life. The brave journey to raise awareness about suicide. Plus, nearing 1 year since the terrifying shooting inside an FSU library, the university president tells us how that campus is healing. Remember, you can take Channel 3 News with you anywhere. Search WEAR TV on iTunes or Google Play. Download the free app.